get the thumbs up from Olivia? I'm Cindy Hickman, and I'm the senior pastor of West Des Moines United Methodist Church. I want to welcome you to this memorial service. I was born in Iowa, and I love Iowa. Iowa is where I've made my home and raised my children. I grew up in Northeast Iowa, and after a lifetime of living here, I have friends and family in Sioux City and Dubuque, Osceola, and Cedar Rapids. In my family, we have Cyclones and Hawkeyes and Panthers and Bulldogs, country cousins and city kids. We Iowans value our connections. In a lot of ways, Iowa is a small town. And in Iowa, when we ask, "How are you doing?" it's a real question. We want to know how you're doing. Right now, our state is facing a pandemic due to COVID-19. How are you doing is now a way of asking, how are you and how has the virus affected you and your family? I would guess that every family in the state has firsthand experience with this virus. Most people recover, but more than 2,100 people in our state have lost their lives. Their families grieve their loss. Tonight, as Iowans who care about one another, we want to offer a memorial service to those who have died. We want to honor their lives. We want to mourn with their families. Courtney Crowder from the Des Moines Register and Trevor Vaughn, our associate pastor here at West Des Moines United Methodist Church, will share the names of just some of the Iowans who have died during this pandemic. These people are more than names, more than a number. They are people who made a difference in the world around them. As you listen to their names, please offer your thoughts and prayers to their families and friends.
George Abadili, 83, Marion, competed in Special Olympics. Dwayne Keith Aarons, 83, West Des Moines, served at least 4 Iowa school districts as an award-winning counselor. Tyler Embergy, 29, Dubuque, a Texas native who played hockey with the Dubuque Fighting Saints. Edith Elia Anderson, 95, Coralville, proud of her Swedish heritage. Jose Andre Garcia, 62, Marshalltown, was days away from retiring from the JBS Swift & Co. meatpacking plant. Darla Arends, 58, Charles City, a special education instructor at Charles City High School. Peter Anthony Armatis, 54, West Des Moines, coached his son's soccer team. Jose Ayala, 44, Waterloo, would open up Atari and VHS players just to see what was inside. Robert Lee Bailey Jr., 56, Oakland, ran the Las Vegas Half Marathon with his youngest daughter, Caitlin, in 2018. Jeanette Marie Baldwin, 88, Mingo, former postmaster of the Mingo Post Office. Shirley Ray Barbary, 88, Des Moines, advocated developing more group homes for special needs adults. Tom Barnabo, 57, Des Moines, original member of the Grandview University football program's coaching staff and a PE teacher at Dowling Catholic. Faye Ann Barr, 79, Cedar Falls, managed produce at the Red Owl Food Store. Patricia Pat Bartles, 86, Olwine, a switchboard operator and union steward for Northwestern Bell Telephone Company. Shirley Louise Barton, 75, Ankeny, enjoyed crocheting, cross-stitching, and attending stock car races. Joan Bauer, 86, Manila. Taught Catholic classes at Sacred Heart Church for more than 30 years. Kenneth Ken Baxa, 77, Cedar Rapids, a devotee of country and gospel music. Jacqueline Lucille Bieber, 89, Des Moines, volunteered with the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Danny Ray Bierman, 61, Muscatine, a passionate St. Louis Cardinals and Minnesota Vikings fan. John Johnny Bjornson, 68, Cedar Rapids, an avid cyclist and a garage sale bargain hunter. Bernadette Bloomquist, 97, Esterville, made amazing Norwegian kringle, crumb cake, and rosettes. Gerald Jean Blubaugh, 88, Des Moines, loved telling corny jokes and sharing fun history facts. His son, Michael Mick Blubaugh, 65, Des Moines, emceed karaoke nights at the Iowa State Fair. Carol Jean Blumberg, 86, Clinton, owned and operated Clinton Tobacco and Candy. James F. Boson Sr., 87, Des Moines, started a family florist business after serving in the Marines. Vernal J. Bonar, 89, trainer, a fervent cheerer at trainer school events. Donna Bloomshire, 86, Ames, survived scarlet fever as a child. Daniel Lee Boone, 69, Rock Rapids, a car aficionado who carefully restored a 1950 Chevy police cruiser to pristine condition. Lee E. Bossum, 83, Blairstown, mayor of Quasqueton for 10 years. Shirley Bowman, 95, Marshalltown, opened the yarn barn with her sisters to teach others to knit. Kenneth Eugene Bratney, 94, Urbandale, started Ken Bratney Co., which has branches around the country in his basement. Darla Eileen Brown, 54, Sioux City, loved playing with her family members' dogs. Kyle Brown, 54, Marshalltown, won awards for perfect attendance at TPI Composites Factory. Richard W. Brown, 93, Des Moines, made 3 cross-Atlantic trips aboard naval ships to bring troops home after World War II. John Pearson Brewster, 81, Cedar Rapids, sang in the Janesville United Methodist Church Choir. Bill Brunsman, 85, Manchester, famous for growing his own tomatoes and making his own sausage. Marilyn Ann Brunswald, 77, Mason City, never without a word search puzzle book. Joy Buchan, 93, Waterloo, a longtime art teacher at West High School. Douglas Doug Lee Budd, 61, Sioux City, received a U.S. Army Expert Marksmanship Badge for use of hand grenades. Forrest Buffington, 80, Mason City, loved rocks and anything with the wheels and a motor. Siddiqa Bulik, 58, Waterloo, came to the United States as a refugee from Bosnia. Raymond Gale Coach Burgett, 86, Des Moines, coached teams in schools in Leon, Urbandale, and Des Moines. Bruce Byerly, 70, Marion, got to live his dream career as a model designer working for Mattel. James Quinton Cahill, 91, West Branch, wrote the Cahill Cooperative newsletter covering history and current events for all those connected by the Cahill name. Carol Carlson, 79, Quad Cities, spent summers boating and water skiing at her family's Mississippi River cabin. Thomas Snappy Catron, 65, Adele, founded Snappy's Fire Stick Barbecue. Richard Allen Shamney, 65, Charles City, could recite almost all of the lines from his favorite movie, The Wizard of Oz. Marville Chapman, 74, Des Moines, collected Elvis Presley memorabilia. George Christopherson, 68, Missouri Valley, absolutely loved Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut iced coffee and chocolate cake donuts. Stephen Joe Cromie Crumsada, 61, Cedar Rapids, an outdoorsman who loved to hunt and fish. Marvin Maynard Clark, 84, Carson, a collector of marbles, John Deere toy tractors, and beer steins. Ruth Clark, 102, Des Moines. Gave tours of the Flynn Mansion at Living History Farms. Terry Lynn Clark, 60, Des Moines, West Des Moines. Loved photography, fishing, and road trips. Roger Coe, 86, New Sharon, an avid bowler. Mary A. Cole, 93, Cedar Rapids, known for her delicious baked goods and her loving schnauzers. Keith Danny Conrad, 65, Cedar Rapids, taught Sunday school and led ashram group retreats. Darren L. Cook, 57, Atlantic, loved playing slots and keno. Raimundo Corral, 64, Sioux City, worked at Tyson Fresh Meats beef plant in Dakota City, Nebraska. Jennifer Crawford, 53, West Des Moines, a special education assistant at Indian Hills Junior High School. Raymond L. Curl, 83, Washington, worked for the Washington County Development Center. J.S. Daniels, 92, West Des Moines, an active member of the Zaga Zig Masonic Temple and Scottish Rite. Ruth David, 91, Ames, avoided a concentration camp through the Kinder Transport and came to Iowa soon after. Ed James Davis, 94, State Senator, awarded the Purple Heart after being wounded in action in Okinawa. John DeMarco, 73, Coralville, longtime football coach at Iowa City's Regina High School. Larry Duell, 83, Clarence, a 50-year member of the Eastern Star and the Masonic Lodge. Thelma Dosker, 91, Mason City, a from-scratch baker who hand-wrote dozens of Christmas cards every year. David N. Donch, 84, Forest City, inducted into the Forest City Bowling Hall of Fame. Patricia Dorn, 88, Runnels, a retired nurse who loved anything about ancient Egypt. Henry Earl Drake, 47, Des Moines, a diehard Oakland Raiders fan who watched every game he could. Anna Dogen, 93, Durant, former president of the Liedertal Ladies. Verl Frederick Duncan, 73, Hubbard, known by family members as the baby whisperer because he could soothe a wailing infant in an instant. George L. Dyer Sr., 78, Ottumwa, served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam as a U.S. Marine. Bob Edick, 86, Centerville, an educator who loved musical theater and horror fiction. Julie Abel, 44, Hartley, fought cancer and beat it twice. Carlene Suzanne Edwards, 68, Cedar Rapids, a member of St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Marion. Abby Irene Eichmann, 36, Des Moines, built Legos and tackled corn mazes with her husband. Jason Engelhart, 38, Belmond, in his first year of teaching at the Belmond Clemmy Talent and Gifted Program. Dorothy M. Eatson, 94, Forest City, a member of the Women's American Legion Auxiliary. Kathy Jo Everett, 60, Fairfax, volunteer extraordinaire with the Fairfax Lions Club. Stephen Everett, 77, Prairie du Chien, an outpatient counselor who worked at hospitals in Las Vegas, California, Wisconsin, and Des Moines. Michael Everhard, 65, Fonda, served in the U.S. Navy in Vietnam and Guam, and did tours in India and Cambodia. Isidro Fernandez, Waterloo, left behind a wife and child. Judith Ann Fetters, 82, West Des Moines, met her husband at a Des Moines skating rink. Robert Michael Flanders, 63, Muscatine, a radar designer and engineer. Dorothy J. Flick, 97, Clinton, learned to read in a one-room schoolhouse. Doris L. Flynn, 86, Cedar Rapids, worked in the Roosevelt Junior High cafeteria for 21 years. Joseph Robert Fouts, 57, Ottawa, nicknamed Joe Dirt for starting his business with just one dump truck. Glenn William Frazier, 81, Des Moines, downhill skied in the snow and golfed in the sun. M. Patricia Pat Freeland, Bondurant, Advocated building Anderson Elementary School and Bondurant High School on her family's land. Judy Fuller, 76, Bluegrass. Love listening to Pastor Joel Olstein and shopping on the QVC network. Blas Chavaria Garcia, 48, Marshalltown, a hobby mechanic with a garage full of tools. Riberano Garcia, 60, Waterloo, father of 10 who lost his wife to cancer last year. Sharon Guile, 75, Creston, an avid bowler who passed the love of the sport to her children. Shauna Elaine Gillen, 44, Burlington, a graduate of Jefferson High School in Cedar Rapids. James Nicholas Gilman, 93, Marshalltown, honored for his work in Veterans Affairs. John Z. Gomez, 70, Mason City, worked as a diesel mechanic at National Byproducts. Joyce Gold, 63, West Des Moines, worked in West Des Moines Human Services Department. Genevieve M. Gray, 91, Evansdale, worked at West High School in Waterloo. Jeanette L. Green, 92, Davenport, studied home economics but excelled at chemistry. George Grubb, 68, Des Moines, a sweet-spirited man. James Lynn Pete Hall, 72, Wapello, delivered meals to the elderly in his spare time. Paul N. Hansen, 82, Cedar Rapids, born in a log cabin. Robert Harrell, 77, Kanawha, a perfectionist in the fields who farmed in Norway Township for more than 50 years. Mildred M. Harmon, 108, Windsor Heights, a master floral artist who decorated the Epworth United Methodist Church altar. Therese J. Harney, 73, Iowa City, organized Iowa City's first ever recreational basketball league. Sharmita Harrison, 91, Cedar Rapids, enjoyed attending church and going to the Milestones Senior Club. Paul G. Hayward, 62, Waterloo, a union pipe fitter and welder for 40 years. Tom Heath, 61, Iowa City, drove a cab and worked as an accountant. Tom Henry, 88, Waterloo, a machinist, gauge inspector, and gauge repairman at John Deere. Geraldine Jerry Marie Hearn, 93, Marion, a 50-year member of the Order of the Eastern Star. Richard Hagen, 72, Des Moines, had a deep interest in vehicles, photography, and good music. Manfred Joseph Hepke, 84, Manchester, loved sharing stories about his childhood in Germany. James Dale Herbert Sr., 77, Muscatine, worked at HON Industries and enjoyed a good casino. Lucille Herndon, 91, Des Moines, made fried chicken every Saturday night. Arlen Hess, 87, Johnston, loved volunteering and bird watching. Thelma N. Hiddleborough, 93, Muscatine, loved crafting, cooking, and baking. Harold D. Heindraker, 80, Forest City, became a born-again Christian in middle age. Ann Hinkhouse, 74, Tipton, worked as a parish nurse for Zion Lutheran Church. Michael Hinton, 49, Cedar Rapids, a dart player. Benedict Howard Hoffman, 91, Iowa City, was childhood neighbors with the woman who would become his wife. Donald Homebaugh, 89, West Des Moines, put himself through law school by playing the drums. Ronald Eugene Holdsworth, 62, Fort Dodge. Lewis Hawley, 86, Cedar Rapids, an active member and guest speaker at the local coffee club. Sister Anelda Holtkamp, 102, St. Paul, served as a nun for 77 years. Alice Van Hoser, 102, Waterloo, loved the challenge of a 1,000-piece puzzle. Myron James Houghton, 78, Ankeny, earned 2 bachelor's degrees, 3 master's, and 3 PhDs. Adrienne Eugenia Doolin Howard, 75, Cedar Rapids, cooked soul food. Dorothy Mae Hubert, 90, Salix, wrote for the Sioux City Journal, drove school buses, and sold Mary Kay cosmetics. Gary Hudgens, 74, Altoona, worked as a pressman for the Des Moines Register. Ann Scalnell Hewell, 93, Iowa City, a Scrabble enthusiast. Gail Muggs Isaac, 71, Des Moines, told his wife every day how much he loved her. Dorothy Irene Eismer, 93, Des Moines, sold Avon for 30 years. Katie G. Jacobs, 96, Council Bluffs, lived on her family farm her entire life. June Marie Janelle, 92, Des Moines, taught piano and participated in women's circles. Houston Yeager, 56, Sioux City, a Sudanese refugee. John Stephen Jansen, 74, Sioux City, trained, bred, raced, and bet on thoroughbred racehorses. Daryl Jass, 84, Ankeny, tried to retire twice but couldn't sit still. Christine Jensen, 67, Des Moines, loved to sing songs with her twin sister, Andrea. Carol Johnson, 81, Mason City, always cheered her favorite NASCAR drivers. Dwayne Bud Johnson, 86, Merrill, enjoyed his corn shelling and custom combining business. Leonard Johnson, 89, Tama, danced at the annual Meskwaki Powwow. Kenneth Kenny Jones, 60, Storm Lake, the ultimate fan of every Chicago sports team. Marie Jordan, 88, Urbandale, survived polio, breast cancer, and at least a few broken legs. Abel Kabaya, 35, Waterloo, a French interpreter at the Tyson meatpacking plant. Vinci Using, 69, Sioux City, framed his certificates from 37 years at Tyson meatpacking plant. Jim Kirkendall, 75, Sloan, took many friends and family on their first hunting and fishing trips. Elizabeth Betty Klein, 81, Iowa City, traveled the country in a motorhome. Jack Klingborg, 83, Cherokee, an activity therapist and teacher at Cherokee Mental Health Institute. Robert Klein, 94, Pella, served as an elder and a deacon at the Second Christian Reformed Church. Jerry Robert Kilpatrick, 84, Davenport, took 2 mission trips to Honduras and built a hospital. Norma J. Knight, 93, Des Moines, loved her great-great-grandchildren. Evelyn Ladek, 102, Cedar Rapids, loved supporting her family as a classroom volunteer, carpool driver, and cheerleader-in-chief. Tricia Larson, 55, Fort Dodge, devoted her life to teaching elementary school students. Janelle Siobhan Latimer, 38, Des Moines, loved books so much she'd read one while listening to another. Lavita Lee, 91, Mapleton, cherished the East Side Homemakers Club and Soldier Lutheran Ladies Aid. Antonia C. Leon, 94, Valley Junction, adored her 24 nieces and nephews and her Shih Tzu, Hamilton. Willie Levi, 73, Waterloo, freed from a decrepit Iowa bunkhouse by a Register investigation. Bernard Bernie Lee Lindstrom, 80, Wheatland, a handyman who could fix anything. Kenneth Leon, 101, Norris Springs, awarded the Purple Heart and Bronze Star after being wounded in 1944 in Italy. Emma Lohman, 97, Wheatland, won the Women's Club championship at Wapsie Oaks Country Club. Mary Jill Long, 79, Dubuque. Her husband stood outside her nursing home window in the rain as she passed. Helen Lowry, 97, Davenport, a part of the Groovy Girls Women's Lunch Club. Jim Lunsman, 43, Atkins, worked as a paramedic. E. Joe Ann Lutz, 84, Des Moines, taught real estate ethics.
Jeffrey Dwayne Mart, 64, Spencer, a proud founding member and head coach of the Spencer Cardinals baseball team. Marilyn Louise Markman, 90, Des Moines. An artist who made beautiful painted rice paper collages. Jose Gabriel Martinez, 58, West Liberty, did impressions while telling stories to his family. Ed McClement, 86, Iowa City, traveled the world as a physics professor. Charlene Lorraine McDermott, 86, Toddville, the best baby whisperer. Sang Hae McDowell, 92, Davenport, grew up under Japanese occupation of Korea. Timothy Lewis McGee Jr., 48, Fort Dodge, Iowa Department of Corrections inmate. Barbara McGrain Brennan, 61, Fairbank, a garage sale fanatic with a collection of blankets and stuffed animals. Lucy McKenzie, 91, Des Moines. Her front yard was featured on the cover of Better Homes and Gardens magazine. John Allen McMurtry, 76, Charles City, a farmer and expert hay baler. Janice L. McNelly, 79, Cedar Falls, served as the Iowa president of the League of Women Voters. Darlene McWhirter, 91, Traer, learned to cook on a farm, helping her parents feed seemingly countless siblings, cousins, and threshers. James Jim Lowell Miller Jr., 64, Cedar Rapids, an expert handyman and bonfire builder. Eric Ridgway Miller, 83, Waterloo, held himself in the law to high ethical standards as a lawyer and community leader. Phyllis Jean Morrison, 96, Clear Lake, percussionist in high school and college. Ricky Murga, 53, Quad Cities, enjoyed Mexican art, culture, and vintage automobiles. Wanda M. Mullen, 94, Des Moines, a homemaker devoted to her husband of 73 years. Patricia Pat Craven Mulvihill, 99, Des Moines, a dancer who loved volunteering at local recitals. Mark Monday, 61, Lamars, born the day the Dodgers won the 1959 World Series and remained a lifelong fan. Melinda Muddy, 55, Pella, taught as a substitute teacher in Knoxville and Pella schools. L. Merle Deke Myers, 90, Iowa City, recruited at the Packwood train stop for work for the FBI. Lynn Charles Nybert, 83, Cedar Rapids, married his wife 6 months after their first coffee date. Sanford Niditch, 97, Ankeny, knew the Ohio State University fight song by heart. Linda Nassif, 76, Cedar Rapids, a role model to her sixth graders at St. Pius Grade School. Kenneth G. Nation Sr., 73, Wapello, took his grandchildren to see Old Threshers reunion. Lola Nelson, 86, Ollie, taught Sunday school at Ollie United Methodist Church. Brent Ben Newton, 50, Fort Dodge, studied his Native American heritage. Hong Kuk Tai Nguyen, 87, Sioux City, helped refugees from Vietnam, Bosnia, and Africa resettle in Iowa. Ray Buster Nielsen, 93, Des Moines, served in the Army's occupational forces in Japan after World War II. Russell A. Nielsen, 96, Cedar Falls, maintained an optometric practice for 41 years. Eunice North, 80, Boone, drove the Boone County Educational Library bus. Betty Jean O'Connor, 86, Des Moines, started a Red Hat group and monthly card club. James M. Orr, 53, Charles City, resident of Comprehensive Systems. Jim Orvis, 65, Waterloo, worked at Cedar Falls Ice House Museum. Oscar P. Swede Ostrom Jr., 93, Des Moines, delighted in giving tours of his Minnesota boyhood school. Mary Ann Ott, 93, Davenport, wooed her husband at local dances. Zachary Scott Overy, 35, North English, passionate problem solver at Vivint Home Security and Automation. Stephen Palmer, 69, Des Moines, served people with intellectual disabilities by his 20-year involvement with Special Olympics. John N. Parica, 41, Waterloo, played football for the Cedar Valley Vikings. Frank Parks, 91, Ottumwa, former president of the ISU Parents Association. Patrick C. Parks, 85, Sergeant Bluff, flew as an Air Force fighter pilot in Vietnam. Stanley Eugene Stan Patrick, 85, Bussy, traveled to Chicago regularly to see his favorite team, the Cubs. Matt Pfeiffer, 64, Grinnell, loved to smoke meats for family gatherings. Norma Jean Perry, 88, Des Moines, spent 41 years as a foster grandparent. Eleanor Moody Petit, 90, Cordova, traveled the country with her friends but was never allowed to drive. Harvey Lewis Peters, 92, Parkersburg, board member and volunteer at Beaver Meadows Golf and Country Club. Richard Leroy Peters, 77, Coralville, Iowa Department of Corrections inmate. Leonard Andy Anderson Pierce, 75, Ottumwa, a regular at Arabian horse shows. Cleo Bud Ping, 88, Sloan, loved reading westerns and historical novels. Norma J. Pint, 90, Davenport, operated a local telephone company at Hanlintown. Warren Pohl, 68, Waterloo, played electric guitar in a country rock band. Russell Lolo Porter, 47, Cedar Rapids, loved his friends and the staff at New Horizons and REM. Robert Probasco, 69, Des Moines, served in the U.S. Army in Germany from 1971 to 1974. Susan K. Prohaska, 65, Dysart, ran a preschool in Evansdale. Marilyn Elizabeth Prouty, 92, Marion, the youngest supervisor ever at the Marion Telephone Company. Evan Gus Puetz, 97, Lamars. Farmed his entire life with his family, first his father, then brother-in-law, son, and grandson. Roger Poles, 73, Grinnell, a competitive bowler in the Grinnell Bowling League. Jose Dolores Guevara Ramirez, 89, Marshalltown, made fresh lime ice cream for his Iowa grandchildren. Edwin Roy Raymond, 54, Sioux City, enjoyed going to the Special Olympics. Day Ra, 85, Waterloo, earned his U.S. citizenship in Des Moines. Greg E. Reisinger, 45, Eldora, owned one of the largest horse farms in Iowa, raising more than 1,700 registered horses. Susan C. Susie Room, 88, Danville, spent 30 years working at the Iowa Army ammunition plant. Kelly Jo Richards, 57, Cedar Rapids, loved to drive around in her Camaro. Virginia Richardson, 97, Cedar Rapids, Baptist pastor's wife and mother to 8 children. F. Alberta Ritter, 95, Des Moines, spent retirement traveling by motorhome to Florida, Arizona, and Texas. Ronald Roberts, 81, Sheraton, a sociology professor at the University of Northern Iowa for 3 decades. Ben Rogers, 67, Quad Cities, Boy Scouts of America leader in Iowa and Illinois. Mary Louise Kitty Rolfs, 90, Johnston, nickname for the precocious little girl in the Kitty Higgins comic strip. Aaron Rubashkin, 92, Postville, fled a Hasidic Jewish enclave in Russia to survive the Holocaust. Gerald Schleiss, 77, Lawton, an artist who created stained glass windows. William Schroeder, 84, Johnston, longtime chaplain for Mercy Hospital and Mercy West Lakes Hospital. Shirley Ann Schultz, 86, Cedar Rapids, loved her cat Queenie. Arthur Scott, 51, Waterloo, rebuilt his life after serving time in prison. Alice Yvonne C., 84, Sioux City, directed a traveling children's theater. Louis Margette Sedgwick, 93, Dundee, Lois, enjoyed refinishing antiques and quilting. Glenn A. Sells, 84, Mason City, sketched intricate pictures of war machinery while growing up during the World War II era. Retha Elizabeth Contry Sharp, 98, Johnston, helped at poll sites during elections and loved to talk politics. Barbara Dreen Sherman, 85, Cedar Rapids, led 3 presidents through Cedar Rapids National Czech and Slavic Museum and Library. Colleen M. Shoemaker, 61, Des Moines, woke up early to celebrate St. Patrick's Day every year. Wilfred Willie J. Sycama, 81, Fulton, had a good heart and a warm smile. Ruth Ann Silverstein, 91, Des Moines, a prolific creator of handmade clothes. Gail Slack, 91, West Des Moines, held Minnesota Vikings tickets for 40 years. Robert Lee Slezik, 83, Des Moines, loved folding laundry at the Rowley Masonic Home in Perry. Victoria Vicky Ann Snarzik, 61, Cedar Rapids, enjoyed swimming, fishing, and gardening. Betty Laverne Sniffen, 96, Olwine, translated for her deaf and mute parents as a child. Judith Selecki, 65, Cedar Rapids, Loved watching Hawkeye basketball games. Harrison Harry Soliday, 85, West Des Moines, spread the Christian gospel in Iowa correctional facilities. J. Elmer Spoonholtz, 90, Des Moines, served 4 years in the U.S. Navy. Harold Spurgeon, 100, Ottumwa, a triplet, joined the Navy Seabees and served in the Philippines during World War II. Melvin Mel Stommer, 68, Coralville, beloved Union postman. Glenn Roger Stancliffe, 79, Iowa City, served as Andover, Illinois fire chief for more than 3 decades. Donald Gene Starcevich, 83, West Des Moines, an avid boater who loved exploring the Mississippi River. Tom Stephenson, 77, Norwalk, built race cars and personal vehicles for friends and family. Henry Hank Steinwalt, 84, Mason City, loved John Wayne's Western movies. Carol Stolman, 80, Sioux City, honored as Professional Horsewoman of the Year by the Arabian Horsemen's Association. Jerry Dean Sofragan, 79, Waverly, worked in the banking industry for over 25 years. Nathan Stupka, 48, Elkhart, an all-state pitcher for the Bomber baseball team. Dolores Sashamal, 93, Mount Vernon, once named University of Iowa's Mother of the Year. Janet L. Temple, 79, Newell, ran a daycare center and owned Temple Hardware. Regina Marie Theory, 62, Waterloo, sewed masks for her friends at the University of Iowa College of Public Health. Dorothy Dot Thompson, 105, Seymour, baked award-winning lemon meringue pies. Robert Bob D. Thompson, 77, Waterville, won awards for the quality of his dairy hog farming. Lowell Titus, 93, Des Moines, hitchhiked through national parks after returning from U.S. Navy service. Linda Tompkins, 62, Coralville, an animal lover who enjoyed cooking and gardening. Dorothy Topping, 78, Cedar Rapids, raised the 4 children of Dr. Dean and Bonnie Bemis, their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Casey Tweedy, 34, Algona, loved riding his bike, lifting weights, and playing basketball. Rolled Tweet, 87, Quad City's beloved Augustana College English professor, Quad City cultural icon, and longtime radio personality. John A. Valuskas Jr., 76, Sioux City, appointed International Coordinator of Carnival Ministries by St. Pope John Paul II. Harlan James Vandesandschult, 68, Sioux City, traveled to Israel, Mozambique, and Nigeria. Ray Allen Van Lingen, 71, Fort Dodge, Iowa Department of Corrections inmate. Tom Vent, 72, Marshalltown, covered Omaha sports for the Associated Press. Don Donnie Watchell, 74, Davenport, owned the filling station and iconic Davenport Bar. William Bill Wallace, 90, Manchester, a Shriner who drove area families to Minneapolis Shriner hospitals. Marilyn Jean Wallen, 86, Sioux City, operated the Wallen Stables and Riding School for over 55 years. Joanne Walther, 74, Cedar Falls, owned and operated Grandma's Treasures Antique Shop. Janet Westoff, 85, Manchester, crocheted and quilted blankets for many charitable causes and for all her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Paul Werger, 88, Urbandale, former bishop of the Iowa Synod of the Lutheran Church in America. Carol White, 100, Ottumwa, among first troops in Hiroshima after its bombing. Jerry Wayne Whiter, 68, Muscatine, devoted Hawkeye fan. Bryce Wilson, 31, Des Moines, played football internationally in Brazil and Hungary. Wiyuka, 36, Des Moines, came to Iowa as a refugee in 2019, fleeing war in the Congo. Michael Mike Wolf, 66, Allerton, played Santa during the holidays. Terry Lou Wood, 70, Waterloo, worked at John Deere for 30 years. David M. Worthington, 74, Des Moines, enjoyed skiing on water and on snow. John Wright, 61, Des Moines, drove buses for Southeast Polk Schools for 13 years. Phyllis Roble, 98, Muscatine, crafted quilts and gifts for her great-grandchildren. Elvin Al Yoder, 77, Iowa City, always juggled several woodworking projects. Delbert Van Young, 59, Ames, was a ticket taker at Hilton Coliseum, William Roy Young, 65, Ames, owned and managed local Jarco stores with his father. In a late addition, Marvin Daigle, 94, a farmer near Lake Park. And after we've read these names, now we're going to take a moment of silence for you at home, you watching, to lift up these names in your hearts of others that you know.
Will you all please join me in an attitude of prayer? Holy One, our hearts break with each ringing of the bell, with each name read, we feel the loss. Our hearts go out to the weeping families. Our state has lost so much. We have lost so much. We have lost so many people we once called the greatest generation. Veterans who fought in World War II, in the Pacific, in Europe, who served honorably and came home to live with the same commitment in their communities. They sacrificed for others. Their wisdom and strength inspires us. We have lost people we lived alongside. We lost mail carriers, Hawkeye and Cyclone football fans who cheered with us, ragbri writers, farm wives, a school employee who worked with special education students, social workers, Red Cross volunteers, a junior high basketball coach, people who danced and read books and fell in love and held babies and rode motorcycles and marched in the civil rights movement and went fishing. People we called mom or dad or sister or brother or friend. People whose lives were pulled off course by a virus sweeping across our state. We remember their laughter. We feel the emptiness. We grieve at the loss. Even our bell moans as we ring it in remembrance. Our hearts are joined with all anywhere who grieve this day. In this prayer, we bring our grief. And we also bring our commitment to do what we can to honor those who have been lost and to prevent more deaths. Remind us again that you too love those we have lost. Comfort us in our grief. Strengthen us in our resolve to face this virus. Give us a broad sense of compassion that we might do all we can to help those who have lost a loved one. Keep us mindful of the other losses too, the losses of job, the loss of hope in this time of pandemic. Our hearts break and we turn to you. Amen.
On behalf of the Des Moines Register and West Des Moines United Methodist Church, I want to thank you for being here tonight. We remember. Here at our church, we ring the bell each Monday morning to remember those who have died due to COVID, and we will continue to do that until the numbers go down, until there are no more deaths. As we leave this place tonight, may you have received some sense of comfort. May we as Iowans have come together in a common cause to defeat this virus. May you go in peace.